in the title, you see here research-based learning. We will understand what is learning, why learning is needed, and then how can we learn through research-based learning, and how that research-based learning can help in developing the competence. We'll understand what is competence as well. Is the competence same as success? Success is always different from competence. So we'll talk about research-based learning. We'll talk about developing competence. We'll talk about how research-based learning approaches can help us in excelling in our career, be it professional or in other domain as well. And I'll be concluding my talk by one research example as well. Because when I'm going to talk that research based learning helps us to develop competence in us, to produce proficiency in us. So let's take one example as well. So some part of my research I have included at the end of the presentation that I'll include. So as advised, I'll be continuing my talk till 11:45. After 11:45, I'll take some questions if there are some queries. Thank you so much. So let's start this talk. And there is no content, table of content. Straight away we are starting. So any work we begin always with some motivation, and this particular thought or the thoughts of these motivational people, motivational inspiring leaders are very much relevant to today's topic. As you can see, Swami Vivekananda, there is a very popular quote: "Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Uttistata jagrata prapya varani bodhata." I mean, you have to set some goal and then keep going, keep working until the goal is reached. This we all know it very well. But how the research-based approach, can help us in realizing these greater thoughts by the great leaders and icons. And you all know, Dr. Kalam, APJ Abdul Kalam, he always used to call upon the youth and used to say that we need scientific temper in young minds. Can we generate scientific temper through research? The answer is yes. We need global skills to grab global opportunities. And also we need to think globally, but thinking globally and then acting locally. Because what we need is, we know that India lives in villages. India lives in rural areas mostly. So we have to reform our villages. We have to bring reforms in the livelihood and quality of life of villages. And how can we do that? Through research. And there is one more popular quote by Dr. Kalam is, "Each one teach one." So once we are trained, once we are elevated, we also have to motivate others. We also have to train others so that we can contribute to the society. You are all, most of you are students. Some teachers have also joined this, talk. But I believe that all of us, we either we study, then we graduate. After graduating, we join some industry, some corporate, some university. But all of us do one common thing, and that common thing is to contribute something for the society. Is to contribute something for the society to improve the quality of life. I think that is the single goal of all of us. And therefore, it's very important to motivate others as well. Now, think big. There is one more: think big, think fast, think ahead, because ideas are no one's monopoly. And this is, in fact, a very, very important statement for taking up a research problem. And this is not a rocket science. You can practice, you can just practice research-based approach in all your daily lives, be it your third year, fourth year, second year, or whatever you do. You can adopt this approach and improve the performance in all your goals, all your activities. Let's take one more: uncover the perfection. I mean, what do we do? Why do we do research? All of you are aware that a lot of research and development, keeps on happening. A lot of research and development happen because of what? To improve something, to get some product, to refine some product. if vaccine development is there, drug discovery is there. So they keep on working, they keep on modifying, they keep on improving. So there is something, that is hidden, and we need to uncover that perfection. Perfection is always there. Solution is there, but we have to uncover. That is what is the research approach. By removing all the obstacles on the way to achieving perfection is the approach which is needed. And there is one more code, because I'm just starting, so I always talk about motivation. There is one more motivational thought of Swami Vivekananda. He says that each soul is potentially divine. It means all of us are very much powerful. That that infinite power is within all of us. What is needed is to manifest that divinity. That aim is to manifest that divinity. Now, why I'm saying all these things? Does research-based learning, does research approach help us in realizing, help us to, see all these things true in our life? Answer is big yes. So I think there is what we need is a different approach. All these pictures are very popular pictures. Many of you were very young when you might have. I hope all of you must have seen this popular movie Three Idiots, and it had a number of messages, especially for young minds, especially for youngsters. I mean, there was something which was a very common thing in the movie, in the form of a message or in the form of statement. If you can read, run faster in the race of life, or else you'll be crushed by others. Life is a race, lagero. I mean, just keep on going, and even if it is not of your interest, even if it is not aligning to your goals, even if it is beyond your interest level, just keep going. That is generally the approach many people follow. That was there in the that was a message in that movie. So, idiot is a term which was very much highlighted in that movie. So, according to that movie, what is idiot? One who listens to his or her heart and chases his dream. And that is very important. You have to listen to your heart and then you have to chase your dream. It's achievable. That is what is needed as called as a different approach. Otherwise, all of us are getting educated, delivering the education, imparting education. So the goal of education is actually learning. We have to learn. The focus of, and at the center of my my talk is the learning. And why I'm emphasizing on learning is because that learning helps us to achieve everything in our life. So education is for learning, not merely for getting good marks, good grades, good percentile, good CGPA, merit positions, money making, US visa, etc., etc. Rather, it is actually to empower ourselves and then empowering the society. So let's empower and elevate ourselves and then help others to empower, to enlighten their lives. So this is a very interesting picture talking about a global reality, because most of you guys are engineering graduates there joining from NIE Mysuru. So there are millions of graduates who are being produced, who are graduating. I know your institute, you are blessed to be part of NIE. NIE is a great institute there. But of course, we all have to agree that the pool of graduates is always, passing every year. But selection committee, if you are aiming at research and development organization, if you are aiming at pursuing master program in some top university in US or National University of Singapore, it comes in top 20. The selection committee will look for very, less number of candidates, very few, good number of candidates. So how to be in that number, how to be in that list which is being seen by or being approved by or being selected by the committee? And that is really a global reality, global challenge. See, one more thing, this is very much connected with what I'm going to talk about, the research based learning. This is, if you can read the footnote, what we are looking for is somebody about 25 with 40 years of experience. I mean, this statement is very interesting. So they are expecting, very young guys of 20 years, 22 years, 25 years, but having experience of 45 years. It means that you need to have a lot of skill set in you. Is knowledge, academically what you acquire, academically what you gain, what is the aptitude that is definitely required. But in addition to aptitude, what is needed is set of skills. And this is why this statement says We need people of having experience of 45 years old. So let me begin with, because research is a prime or an important keyword in the title. So let us understand what is research approach. Let's give some time here. As you can see, one flow diagram is there. It's not necessarily to be followed by those teachers or those researchers who are doing their master, doing their research program. It is not necessary. Those who are in their second year, third year of BTech programs, they can follow this cycle, they can follow this flow diagram, and in their regular activities, regular problem solving approaches, problem solving activities in any course, they can follow, this particular cycle. What we generally do, that we study a course, teacher comes, teaches in the class, and then we complete our, grading, assessment, and all that. But then we need to think of some different questions, which are not very uncommon, which are not very common, which are uncommon. Uncommon questions have to be identified in each course after the completion of that lesson, after the completion of that chapter. And that is what is the research approach. What more could be done? Can this be made like this? Can this be designed like this? That different approach is needed. And therefore, I'm saying this is very much possible in your regular studies as well. It's not very different that you need to discuss with the person who are doing doctoral studies or master degree studies, and they can help you that what is the research approach. That is not like that. So let's understand one by one what we do in a research approach. We begin with a question. We ask a question. Can I do this? For example, I visited Mysuru. I went to one hospital there, which is Punima Hospital. I'm just giving a practical example because we are doing some research in the area of meditation. Scientifically, how meditation does produce impact in human life, in improving the quality of life. So we heard that in Punima Hospital, Dr. Punima is doing some studies on female infertility problem. We visited there, we spoke, we discussed with her, and we knew that yes, I mean, stress is a major factor for that particular problem. So we had long discussion. Twice we visited and met her in your own city. I went there with one more person of my research fellow. With my research fellow, I visited there. Then we came to know that stress is a major factor. And what we are doing here to determine or to detect the stress or to study the stress, we are using a scientific method by using EEG signal, EEG device. We are capturing EEG device from different persons. Brain signals are being recorded. And then we do some research and find out that yes, the stress can be detected. There are two persons, A and B. B has lesser, A has more. That is possible we are doing. So, and then some person is doing some task, say meditation for 3 months. So after 1 month, after 1 week, is there any change in the stress level? Is possible. Scientifically, we can do that. So what I'm trying to say, that you have to ask a question that, yeah, this is a problem. This problem, whether it can be solved or not. If it can be solved, how it can be solved. So like you have to begin with a question, and then you have to do some background research. You can't simply say that no, it's possible. You have to study some literature, and that literature will suggest you that this is doable. How do you do that? So suppose you choose a problem. I'm just talking to young guys who have joined this meeting. You can just think of finding some similar articles, similar papers. And I know that many of you love being part of social media like Instagram and all that. But I hope you also will be following LinkedIn and Twitter kind of platform where MIT, Harvard, their presence is there. And they'll keep on posting about what work they are doing in a particular area. So you choose your area of interest, you choose your area of, subject area of research, and find out what is happening. Then you will understand that how much has been studied, how much has been done by others in the similar area. For example, when I'm saying that we can study the meditation, so we have to search how much work has been done on the meditation using EEG signal, using brain signal, how much impact analysis that meditation does have greater impact in human life, in mental life, mental well-being. Are there literature, are there articles, are there papers available? We have to study. So similarly, if you are choosing some problem of compiler design or operating system or any other course, Take a problem, identify the area, that particular keyword of your problem, search what has been, how much has been done, how much has been, contributed in that. So this is what is needed as do background research. You have to do this because that will tell you that how much has been done, how it has been done, how many yeah, have done this, in last 5 years it has been done, or for last 20 years it's being contributed. You will be able to identify. So that will give you the reflection of how much, what, and how it has been done, why it has been done, that you will understand. So you can apply this concept in your regular problem solving approach. Choose a problem, find out the similar problem and similar solutions which are available, study, make your own strategy that how you can learn from that experience and solve the problem in your own way, and then construct a hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but a paragraph where you will write why you have chosen this problem, what is this problem, what you are going to do, how you are going to solve, and then what you are going to achieve. Everything you write in a paragraph. So you prepare a, you construct a hypothesis, and then once you construct a hypothesis, you start experimenting. Experimentation may be your lab-based experimentation. It may be your, data-based experimentation. You can collect a lot of data. You can use your data science, ML, AI-based techniques to identify, to classify the data, to train the data, to interpret the data, to understand the data, what does data infer, what information it brings out to you, that you can understand. So you'll be performing a lot of experiments and then analyze the results and draw some conclusion. And then whatever you have promised, whatever you have claimed in the hypothesis, that might be true or false. You might have claimed that this is what I'm going to achieve. I'm going to determine the stress level of a person when a person undergoes a meditation, or when a person performs meditation for 3 months, yoga for 3 months, how much stress level is reduced, how much stress level is affected. I can find out. You have claimed in the statement, in the hypothesis, but something might not be possible, that you have not been able to achieve what you claim. So that you can always write as a report. And if it is completely false, you have not been able to even achieve 80% or 70% of what you have claimed, then you can again think and try again and modify the hypothesis. So this is nothing but a research cycle. Identify, ask a question, identify a problem, do some background research, do some background study. Based on that, identify the problem, write your problem statement, and make a hypothesis. How will you make a hypothesis? How can you think that this approach, this method is going to solve your problem? When you do background research, when you do a lot of studies on similar articles highlighting similar approaches, similar methods, you will be having some idea. You can then think of modifying the existing paper, existing work, existing method, or you can propose something of your own new, that this new method can work and solve this problem. Like that, this is the approach or the research cycle. Now you see this is a very popular proverb, and the last statement is very important. Involve me and I will understand. Otherwise, you can say that no virtual lectures and all that will attend. I will watch all the lectures. I will write the exam. I'll score good grade. But what is important is your involvement is needed. So when you involve in something, when you are experimenting, when you are studying, when you are analyzing your result, all this happen inside the component called as research. So involvement is needed. Your active involvement is needed. When you are doing research means you have chosen a problem, you have started understanding the problem, you have started understanding the viable solution for that, you have started implementing the proposed method, and then you are analyzing and finding out how it is working. So all this will only happen when you involve yourself completely, when you immerse yourself completely in that particular problem solving approach. So this is the research based learning, and it gives a lot of advantages. Like if we can define formally that what the research is a careful, systematic patient study. You have to be very careful. You have to do it very systematically. And why do we do? To investigate something in some areas of knowledge undertaken to prove some facts or principles. Is actually a discovery, rather rediscovery. You don't do not need to discover it. You can rediscover. Why it has to be rediscovered? Because it's from known to unknown. As I mentioned, that you have to read number of articles, number of papers, number of contributions, research contributions, articles, papers, books, and so on. So you have a known fact, you have a known data, you have a known information. So the help of known things, you are going to solve some unknown problem. Probably your solution is going to be very unique, very novel, and therefore you are going from known to unknown. That is the approach. And how do you do that? When you involve in this type of discovery, that when you have some known data, with the help of known data, for example, let me tell you one thing. You collect some data related to, there is a mobile tower, for example, near you there is a mobile tower, and people say that no, it is harmful for our health. So can you do some small experiment, can you do some small research? Either you can have some device that can measure the radiation level, and then you can find out whether that frequency range of radiation level is harmful for our health or not. But then you have to collect the data during the day night for so many days, and then collect and discuss with some medical personnel and medical expertise and find out whether it is harmful or not. Similarly, we were discussing when we visited one university in Bangalore. There is a university here in Bangalore. There is a university called as S Vyasa. That university is for yoga. Swami Vivekananda Yoga University. It's in Jigni, Bangalore. That's a huge university who are studying and doing research in the area of yoga. So we thought that what we'll do, that we'll record brain signal, EEG signal of a person near the tower, that is mobile tower, and at certain distance from the tower, and we'll find out that does it impact our brain signal. This is how scientifically you can think of study, isn't it? But this approach is needed, that you have some known data, you have some known information. With the help of known data, then you can use it some suitable ML model, DL model, or AI technique, and then you can classify the data. You can find out, no, those who are living very near to tower, those who are very near to mobile tower, their EEG signal or brain signal demonstrates or exhibits that there is something wrong, there is some negative impact. On the basis of the data analysis, you can say. So this is the approach, and when you want to do so, what is needed is you have to work in team. You cannot do alone. So teamwork, people will say, they'll come to your college, they'll come to your institute, and they'll say that you have to develop teamwork, you have to have collaboration skill. They'll be talking about employability skill. Whenever some campus placement happens in your college, in your university, they'll say that you have to have this communication skill, teamwork, collaboration, time management, resilience, a lot of things they'll say that. So you have to work in teams. You learn a lot to experience and explore relevant real world problems and questions, issues, challenges, problems, and then creating presentations. Either you can present what you have learned, what you have experimented, or you can even come up with some product for the that can be beneficial for the society. So actually, this is, before this I explained the cycle, and then second I have tried to define it, what actually is the research based learning. And then there is one more term which is in my title is competence. So let's understand actually success. As I say, say for example, successful, you get an employment after you graduate from an IE Mysuru, you get an employment, you are successful. But what is competence is, suppose you get an employment there, and after you join there, and after 1 year you do not get progress there, or you are asked to leave the organization. It means you have something, you lack of something, you do not have proper skill set, or something is wrong, and therefore you are being fired, or you are not happy there, you are not having growth in the industry. So being successful is not a very difficult thing. You can Success is an intermediate stage in our life. We can get 100 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times success in our life. But what is needed is competence, and this is needed to excel in your life. And with the help of competence, you can enjoy sustainable career growth. Sustainable means you can lead sustainable career growth, and professional growth. You'll get all your promotion, progress, sustainable progress with happiness and all that, satisfaction, all that. So what is competence? It includes experience, it includes knowledge. You are knowledgeable, you might be successful, but you might not be competent. It requires experience, it requires setup skills, it requires behavioral changes as well. These days people talk about EQ, emotional quotient, IQ is intelligent quotient, but people talk about EQ, emotional quotient, and that we fail to manage when we actually join the real world, the workforce. So that is important. Then performance, a lot of goals are there, how to align with these goals, how to meet these goals, how to meet the expectations of the employer and all that. All these management are there, then only you have competence. And then so what is the term that you always come across in your during the placement is employability. So knowledge has to be combined with the skill set, then it becomes employability. So these are the graduate attributes. When you graduate from NIE Mysuru, you are expected to have engineering knowledge, problem solving approach, design and develop. You must be able to design and develop some solutions for problem. You need to be competent to use modern tools, and you have to have teamwork skill set, communication and lifelong learning. Engineer and society, you have to have some responsibility for the society, project management, environment, sustainability and ethics. All these you have to understand. Otherwise, think about this deep fake and these AI challenges in AI. People are talking about ethics in artificial intelligence. So what is ethical, what is unethical, how can we do, how can we study, how can we solve the challenges which are coming up in artificial intelligence that is posing challenge to the society. Can we think of studying such problem? Can we think of taking such problem? Can you work at the level of protocol or security mechanism or some strategy that can help the people, to deal with unethical issues in the artificial intelligence development, like deepfake kind of thing? How can you do some research? How can you study something? How can you program something so that the see in deepfake what happens? You all understand some attributes of a person is those attributes are used, and over other video in some part of the face those attributes are applied, and it seems that in that video the picture is of different person using the artificial intelligence and all those attributes. How can you detect that? How can you prevent that? Think about such problems. And therefore these attributes are needed when you pass out from an IE. When you graduate from there, you need to have confidence. Attitude plays very important role, I'll tell you, right, in second part of my talk. And third part will quickly talk about my own small research that actually helps us in understanding how can we learn in developing competence, time management, teamwork, stress management. We hardly bother about this stress management, but this is something which is a very common thing in the young minds, in young guys who are working in the corporate. Everyone will admit this. So when you see the requirement, the industry, they require technical and soft skills, candidates who can integrate into organization with peers, those who can work with others, managers, juniors, customers and partners, professionals who can adapt to multicultural environment. You have been studying there, you have been in a particular cultural environment in MDNs. When you go somewhere else, you might have to work in different cultural environment, in virtual team, in different types of environment. So you have to deal with all those things that is needed. And these things, when you come across the campus placement, some person comes there to teach you that what are the skill sets required. So you always see all these things. We need to develop multiple intelligence, and we need to have high value on verbal and written communication. Written communication may not be a problem, but verbal communication may not be a problem. But actually, when we write, many of us do not write very properly, and that is also very important. So when you follow some research-based approach, when we start identifying a problem, solving that problem, they're writing about it, because presenting that approach, presenting that implementation that you have made is very much needed. So in a research approach, what you do that you choose a problem, then you do some background research, you write the problem statement, make hypothesis, implement, propose some method, implement your method, then try to get result, discuss your result, conclude, and then you include some references. So in the overall, in all these stages, you learn this thing, that is good written communication as well. As far as critical thinking, creative thinking, decision making, problem solving, all these are concerned interpersonal relationship, because probably in research you have to always work in a team with some person, one person, two, 10 persons, or even two, three organizations have to work together. So you'll be learning all these things. So they are only in your current state. You may be in fifth semester. Probably all of you are in fifth semester, third year. You choose some problem, maybe nearby, village near Mysuru. You can choose a problem in rural area and think of how can we apply artificial intelligence to, you know, to solve the problem of this village. I can tell you one simple example. Some 7 years back, I got a research grant from Government of India. That was a decent amount, and the title of the work was it was study of research and development impact in rural Telangana. So you see here how much research and development has happened. How will we do that? Collect the data. How many schools are there? How many of kids are going to a school in each household? All these things, whether electrification is there or not, whether health facilities are there or not. Collect the data, use some model, and do some modeling, and tell them that no, this is needed to improve the rural area in a particular, locality or a particular state. So something like this problem you can take up, and I'm just giving a simplest example. Use your AI ML model and come out with some recommendation that this is something which is lacking and this could be solved by this recommendations, kind of thing you can say. I think I do not need to repeat this thing. I have already talked about the employability skills. You need to have skills, attitude, and qualities. I mean, what is then? How do we define it? When you are successful, you get a job. But what is needed is to keep a job and to grow in a job, to enjoy a job. That first of all, you have to get a job, get an employment, to sustain there, to grow there, to grow in a sustainable manner. You may always expect exponential growth, but whatever it is, you always will expect the growth there, professional growth to be there in the employment. So getting it, keeping it, sustaining it, and growing in it, all this is possible only because of this is that employability skill. So employability skill is not like you get an employment. After you get an employment, how do you do there? How do you grow there? How do you help others? How do you build the institution? How do you build the corporate? How do you contribute there, as a team, as a leader? All these things matter a lot when it comes to employability skills here. So set of attributes, skills, and knowledge required to become capable and effective in workplace to benefit self, employer, and wider economy and the society. Because this I have not written. This was a common statement which was always made by Dr. Kalam. Only 20 to 30% of graduates are employable. The meaning is only 20 to 30% are of that quality who can get job. Even if they are fired by the current employer, next day they'll get a job because they have some set of skills. So this is a common statement. So how to develop? You want to learn collaboration and teamwork. As I mentioned, research gives you the opportunity to work in a team. So work in team, you will develop collaboration skill. To learn critical thinking, take some small problem, take on some small but complex problem. You can choose some problem which is of very different in nature and think differently, that how can we think of solving this problem in a different manner. And that to learn verbal communication, you need to present. So once you do some research, once you implement something, you have to present either in conference or in front of your teachers or some seminar, or in the form of research paper you will be writing. So you have to present there. And as far as written communication is concerned, you will be writing. To learn technology, you have to use a lot of tools, modern tools, and their usage, and that too judiciously, because I have mentioned you, ethical and social issues are very important while using the modern tool usage. To develop citizenship, you have some responsibility for the society, global and local responsibility. So you have to take on some civic and global issues. Like I gave one example when I did one project in Hyderabad that was about rural development of rural Telangana. To learn about careers, do some internships, and I know all of you do this, but go there, take that problem as a research problem, have that research approach. You will develop a lot of skill set in you. And this is a very a popular cycle called as continuous improvement cycle. say what you want. This is actually say what you want to do and do what you say. So this exactly is the cycle that when you plan to solve a problem, you have to choose a problem means you are saying that I want to do this, I want to solve this. Do what you say. You have made some claim, and then you have to start working on it. You have to propose a method, you have to implement, you have to experiment and prove it. Whatever claim you have made, you have to prove it, right? And it's not necessary that you are able to prove it. If you're not able to prove it, improve it. So this cycle is actually a continuous improvement cycle. And I can tell you, in your research paper, in your research approach, in your research based learning, what do? You do like this only. See, if you see the research, it's re plus search. Things have been done, things have been implemented by others. You have to do something by your own. So you have to identify the problem. You have to say that this problem can be solved in this manner, and I can do this by using this method. Now you have promised that you can do it. Start implementing, start getting the result and proving it. If you're not able to prove, try to improve. You might be, or you might not be able to prove that. If you're able to prove, it's very good. If you're not able to prove, you can even modify this statement that what you made the promise. So it begins with awareness that you are aware that there is some problem, and you are taking up this problem. Like I gave one example when I visited Mysore and visited Ponima Hospital. So I knew that there is a problem where some artificial intelligence intervention is possible. And then we start practicing, get some feedback, get some reflection that how does it work, how does it bring result, how does it bring impact, and then improve it. So this is a cycle that you learn from the research based learning. Like, how can you create learning environment? I think I have already talked about. You can work in team, and when you work in a team, you choose a problem. That may be a small research problem. To experience and explore relevant real world problems, questions, problems and challenges, and then create presentation and product. This statement is repeating. So let's quickly in 5 minutes, talk about the success process. And then next 10 minutes, I'll be talking about my research work. So he says that take up one idea, make that one idea your whole life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body full of that idea. This is the way to success. This quote is of Swami Vivekananda. And what do you do in the research problem? You take up a problem, right? And make that entire problem. Say you ask a person who is doing PhD, you ask a problem who is doing some research problem. So he begins with some idea and he or she makes that idea her or his own that complete life for 3 years or 1 year or 4 years. Think about it, dreaming about it, and living on that idea and solving the problem. Put up all your efforts to solve that problem. And this is what is the process. So even if you are studying something, in your study, in your studying a course or doing a programming course, implementing something, simulating something, follow these steps. Begin with a problem. So whatever, even you are writing a program, you are doing some programming course, connect your problem solving approach with some challenge, some idea that this could solve this particular problem, this could solve this particular difficulty. So connect with that, connect with some real world problems, real time problems. And then goal has to be identified. You have to strengthen to your commitment, and you need to change behavior and also the attitude. You might think that why it is needed. I'll tell you, because attitude and aptitude both matter a lot. If you have good attitude in addition to aptitude, then you can definitely achieve good altitude also. You can achieve a greater height. So attitude and aptitude, helps you to achieve altitude. Because what is the problem with negative attitude? And this will be eliminated by research approach, I can tell you. It becomes your commitment to goal. You can say overconfidence or low self-confidence, lack of self-worth. You will say that no, this is not possible by me. I cannot do this. But if you're doing research, you have to try again and again and again with that ability, with that confidence. So sometimes you'll have victim role. No, this was a problem, that was a problem. The department did not do well. There was no good facility. Library was not good. But you never analyze. You never introspect about oneself. So resistance to change, tendency toward procrastination, all these are negative approaches. And if you start following what I'm saying is a research-based learning, you will start eliminating all these things from your life. That is completely true. So this will take you down But as far as the positive attitude is concerned, it will always elevate you in terms of your personality, in terms of your handling the difficult situation, resilience, stress, and all that, and of course, enjoying your career. So I think this is very important. You might have seen somewhere in social media, first attempt in learning. You can interpret like this. So the negative approach is failure, but the positive attitude is success. So this trouble you. So have a specific goal which is measurable. You are choosing some problem which is measurable. You can say that this can be quantified, what I'm going to do, achievable, result oriented, and time bound. Set goals which are time bound. You'll say that this I will be able to do, but how much time it will take, that I don't know. So you have to do that planning as well. And what is needed is many of us do not know about ourselves. So you see the binary combination here. I know what I know, means I know my strength, I know what I do not know, I know my weakness. This is very much needed. You have to identify that, and that research gives you the opportunity. When you do research, when you experiment, you understand that what is the strength of your work, how much you have been able to prove that, how much you have not been able to do that. So all these things you can learn. I do not know what I know means I don't know my strength. That is the most dangerous thing. I do not know my strength, and I know what I know means I know my strength. So you have to identify strengths and weakness. So this kind of analysis and development of this skill set comes automatically through the approach of learning which I have explained you. Right, then all these are assessment criteria. When you go for placement, they'll check your leadership, interpersonal skill set, problem solving, ability to work under pressure. They'll ask you some situation where there is very tough situation, how will you handle that, ability to see a big picture. Can you think of some particular topic in a wider perspective, in a big picture? And this is only possible when you have research based thinking. So when you go for different interviews where they'll ask competency based interviews, for example, I'll explain only one. Say if they're expecting they want to assess teamwork in you, they can say describe a team, describe a project where there was a team and where you have worked, and how was your contribution, what was your contribution, what problems you faced there, and how did you deal with them. So you have to explain about the real problem where you had a team and you worked in a team, and how could you overcome the difficulty that was there while solving the problem. So this will automatically happen when you do some research, when you take up some problem, when you use your programming concept to address that particular difficulty or problem, real time problem. So then you can give different examples of how did you demonstrate teamwork, how did you demonstrate communication skill, and all that. So let me begin quickly now the last part, because I have promised you 11:45 I'll close. So this I think I'll not repeat it. What is needed is quality of life and holistic life, and therefore we have started doing one research, like we have Indian Knowledge System Lab here, IKS, where we are working towards yoga, meditation, and other mindful practices. Right? I will not explain about the Indian knowledge system, but I'll say that a lot of things are there under Indian knowledge system: traditional knowledge of mathematics, yoga, medicine, preserving arts, culture, tradition. So a lot of things are there in this state, in your area, in terms of culture, knowledge of mathematics, traditional knowledge of all these well-being and all those things. Why can't we do some research? Why can't we do some study and research in the traditional knowledge, traditional astronomy, and other areas? So currently, in this lab, we are working with SVASA. I have mentioned about a university, Nimhans, Bangalore. Probably you all must be knowing about this institute, National Institute of Mental Health and Sciences, and then some IITs and Heartfulness Center, which is meditation center in Bangalore, Kanakpura. So we are working with all these things. So when you work with so many institutes, you will learn a lot how to be work with other people, how to work with other organizations, multi-institutional, multi-people involvement, teamwork, collaboration skill. Automatically, you'll do it. And therefore, I'm saying that take some small problem that involves many people, that involves many organizations, that involves many institutions, and then you will be learning a lot. I can tell you, I can promise you. So we are doing exactly. So I will not discuss in detail because we do not have time. Like in one of our research, what we are doing, we capture EEG signal before meditation, and after person practices for 40 minutes or 30 minutes, we again record the brain signal. And one day is not enough. We have to do it for 8 days, 3 months, 1 or 2 months, and then we are clearly observing the difference between the person before meditation and after meditation. And we are currently studying mental well-being in terms of stress quality, level of stress, sleep quality, anxiety level. We have done some work on determination of anxiety level, stress level, and mind wandering also we have studied. So all these we are studying and using practical data. These are some pictures from Nimhans Bangalore, SVASA Bangalore. So we are using these facilities where we are capturing, we are working in team, a lot of people are involved, we are capturing the data, understanding the brain signal, analyzing the brain signal, using AI/ML model, classifying them, whether they are meditators, they are non-meditators. If they are meditators, what is the impact in meditators? If there is impact in meditation, how much impact? Person who has been doing for 3 years, who has been doing for 3 months, person who has been doing for 3 weeks, what is the change in the impact level of meditation? Different types of meditations, like pranayama, breathing exercises, yoga, and all that. And this is not, these days limited to Indian knowledge system. Yoga and meditation are, have become very, very popular all across the world. My current collaboration has started with Sweden researcher. He's a professor in Sweden. We have started in a current research which is about determining a correct posture of yoga and meditation so that it can produce appropriate impact. So we're doing a collaborative research with that. So you can see that how did I get collaboration? Vindhya in the beginning was reading my introduction where, because there is a time constant and I don't want my all biodata to be read, but you can see that more than 12 national and international awards are there under my credit, and all those are recognition of my research based learning only, all because of research contribution only. So what I'm trying to say that when you follow this approach, you'll also learn, and you also get recognition. Obviously it comes as a byproduct. So for example, like this is a deep learning model, ML model, where we capture the data, we pre-process, we extract the features like EEG signals are time series data, where we extract alpha, beta, gamma components. Many of you might not be aware, alpha, beta, theta, gamma components we extract, and we can focus on frontal area or parietal area or temporal area, occipital area, because different areas have different functionalities. For example, I'm moving my hands, motory task, I'm sensing. So this is, controlled by frontal area. And similarly, occipital area, which is backside of your head, this is for visualizing capability. So mind wandering, stress, critical thinking, all can be studied using different part of your brain and taking EEG signal. And then you can extract the features. Those features can be subjected to any ML model. And then you can study about, whether there is any mental disorder, mental disability, whether there is reduction in stress, whether there is increase in sleep quality. All these things can be studied, and particularly stress, detection of disability, anxiety and mind wandering. We have already, studied to some extent, and our 2 3 papers are already under review. One of the paper is in IEEE transaction in human machine interface, a very reputed journal in the area of mental well-being. So what I'm trying to say, this is all teamwork, research based work, which is not a rocket science. Collecting the data, using simple model and analyzing this, I was saying gamma, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. And this is the EEG signal before meditation, after meditation. And I was talking about different parts of your brain. This is the front side, frontal area, parietal, occipital. So this occipital is responsible for mind wandering. If you want to study about mind wandering, you can capture your EEG signal from here and compare one person from other person. The person whose mind wandering is more can be clearly seen in the EEG signal. So this is scientifically done, right? This is one more work on yoga and meditation breathing practices for improved quality of life. We are using some decomposition techniques to decompose the signal, extracting the features using some model, and classifying whether they are meditators, practitioners, or not. One more, this is almost last slide, don't worry. One more thing, that what happens, there are a lot of electrodes which are put over the cap. Which electrodes are bringing more appropriate information? You have a frontal area is covered by 30 channels, for example, 30 electrodes. So if you bring information from all those 30 electrodes, there will be huge dimensionality. You can address it, but better is to optimize those channels. So the two interns who came from Delhi to under me here at IIIT Bangalore, they have worked this very nicely, and they have optimized the most appropriate channels that can be used for a particular purpose. The role of AI is significant in healthcare. This is a concluding remark of my own research, small research. In the sustainable healthcare, there are 17 sustainable development goals of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. When you see third sustainable development goal, that talks about good health and mental well-being. So mindfulness practices like pranayama, breathing practices, yoga, they have tremendous potential for improved quality of life. So let me, conclude. So what I am expecting takeaway for you, I don't know whether it has benefited you or not. Lifelong learning is very important. I mean, throughout your life, do not stop the learning. And how can you develop this? You have to have a research-based approach. Then from everything you learn. 5 years, 2 years ago, 5 years, I was in Myanmar, neighboring country to India. So those, I mean, I try to learn the language. I started writing the Myanmar language. I started reading the language. I started speaking. So I took interest, and then many things I learned from there. So learning doesn't mean solving a problem, doing a coding. No, whatever is there that you can learn, keep learning. That will always help you in improving yourself and leading quality life. Think differently, live in present, right? Don't just dwell in the past. Definitely, you can learn from the past. That is, experience will help you, but please live in the present. Now, the thank you slide is a very different slide. Don't worry, this is the last slide. So my thank you slide is inviting the question from you. If you have any specific questions, you can ask, but I always conclude by E equals MC square. I hope you all know this equation, but my interpretation is different. You see here. E is excellence, M is motivation, C is commitment. It's not mass, velocity of light, and energy. So what is important is if motivation remains constant, compare this. If you take commitment as half, your excellence will be 1 by 4. And if you take commitment as 2, excellence will be 4 times. So suppose there are two guys who are attending my lecture. For example, mathematics lecture, A and B. A is half-heartedly doing, B is doing with double commitment. I can tell you, B will get 4 times excellence as compared to A. So this approach, I can tell you, this definitely you'll do you'll get advantage, get benefit of in research-based approach. You have to be committed. You have to be you have to be you have to be committed with wholehearted, sincere, and honest effort. Then your effort will never go into when effort will never go into waste. And whatever you plan, whatever you make the hypothesis, will definitely be proved by your approach and the sincere effort. So I think the time is which was given to me is till 12 o'clock. So if you have questions, I would love to hear some questions and would love to respond. Else, I can still give a recap of the entire lecture.